Shalom. First off, I want to give all honors, all glory, and all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Merkah Kwadash, double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone GMS. Shalom to the elect of Israel, beginning with the 144,000, and to all Akim priests in this word for the edification of the elect and of the body. I pray that mercy and faith by Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai is bestowed upon you as we enter into these last days. This is the brother Halal from the Great Millstone Camp in Chicago, and this lesson is going to be about this incident that took place down south in Atlanta, Georgia. You know, when these two Edomite Ku Klux Klan members, basically tried to walk through a so-called black neighborhood, an Israelite neighborhood, and they ended up getting smoked. They're just straight up raw and unfiltered. They ended up getting smoked, man. And we know that in these last days, it was prophesied that nation will rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom. And that's not just referring to these different countries, but it's also referring to among the races of people, and in particular between Jacob and Esau. The Israelites being these so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, the primary body, and also the Israelites scattered among the other nations, and Esau being the forefather of the so-called white man. So I'm going to start this off with, let's start this off with the book of Genesis, chapter 25, in verse 20. I'll start at verse 21, and it says, "And Isaac entreated Yahweh for his wife because she was barren. And the Lord was entreated of him, and Rebekah his wife conceived." So this was before Rebekah was about to give birth, to Jacob and Esau, the two brothers. Verse 22, "And the children struggled together within her, and she said, If it be so, why am I thus? So she went to inquire of the Lord." So Jacob and Esau were literally struggling, fighting one against another inside the womb before they were even born, into this world, man. Verse 23, "And the Lord said unto her, Two nations are in thy womb, and two manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. And the one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger." Because people will read this, and they'll try to say, oh, Jacob and Esau came from the same mother and father, so therefore, and then they'll say something that's bugged out. But no, it says that two nations are in thy womb. So this was the first occurrence in the Bible that we know of, that two nations were in one womb, man. It says that straight up and clear. And it goes harder in the NLT, in the New Living Translation. It says, verse 23, in the NLT says, "And the Lord told her, Your sons in your womb will become two nations from the very beginning. The two nations will be rivals. One nation will be stronger than the other, and your oldest son will serve the younger son." And we all know, or at least we all should know, that Esau, Edom, ended up being the elder twin, man. Verse 24, it says, "And when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb. And the first one came out red all over like a hairy garment, and they called his name Esau." And they'll try to say that Esau came out as a hairy baby, but what it's actually talking about, I believe it's in Exodus? Yeah, this is the book of Exodus, chapter 25, in verse 3. I'll start at verse 3. "And this is the offering which ye shall take of them, gold and silver and brass, and blue and purple and scarlet, and fine linen, and goat's hair, and ram skin dyed red, and badger skin and shittim wood." So this right here is going into an offering. And it mentions, a ram skin being dyed red. So when it says that Esau was red all over like a hairy garment, it was referring to his pigment, man. It was referring to his pigment because the blood showed forth through his skin. And it says that Jacob and Esau, these two nations, will become rivals, and one nation will be stronger than the other. And we see that rivalry playing out to this very day. Esau against Jacob and Jacob against Esau, man. And you also had that situation that happened in Cincinnati, Ohio, where those Nazis, they got chased off by the Jakes in Ohio, man. And I'll say this: if them Atlanta niggas, split these Ku Klux Klan members' wigs and they got ran out of Ohio by Jake, they ain't trying to come here to Chicago, man. These niggas down here got full Call of Duty loadouts, man. The last time the Klan showed up to Chicago was back in 1919, if I'm not mistaken, back in the Red Summer. And one of the reasons they haven't showed up is because unfortunately niggas can't stop killing each other. But they know that if they show up, Jacob is gonna stand up against Esau, man. This is not the era where Esau could ride around in a pickup truck and grab Jacob and hang him on trees and beat him and mutilate their private areas, man. We're in the last days, and you Edomites are about to take the ultimate L, man. See, let's go to the book of Matthew chapter 24. Let's see. We'll start at verse 3. And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him. This is when the disciples came to Yahushua. It says, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of thy coming and of the end of the world? So they were asking him, when is going to be, the end of the first and the beginning of the world to come, ruled by Yahweh by Shema Shai. They were asking Yahushua, when was he going to make his return? And give salvation to Israel, beginning with the elect. Verse 4, and Yahushua answered and said unto them, take heed that no man deceive you. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am a Mashiach, and shall deceive many. And ye shall hear wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. It says, for nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines, pestilence, and earthquakes in diverse places. All these are the beginning of sorrows, man. So it specifically said that nation will rise up against nation and kingdom against kingdom. And for these past 100 years, whether it been, going back to the womb, the Rome, when the pagan Roman Empire fell and Jake started to rule in the Dark Ages, that's history you can find in the Negro Question book. But the war between Jacob and Esau has always been there, man. That tension has always been there between Esau and Jacob, man. And in these last days, it's only gonna increase, to an even higher level than what it's ever been before, man. Let's get the book of Isaiah. This is the book of Isaiah chapter 19. And I'll start at verse 16. It says, in that day shall Egypt be like unto women, and it shall be afraid and fear because of the shaking of the hand of the Lord of hosts, which he shaketh over. And the land of Judah shall be a terror unto Egypt, and every one that maketh mention thereof shall be afraid in himself, because the counsel of the Lord of hosts, which he hath determined against it, man. So it tells you that the land of Judah will be a terror unto Egypt. And what does Egypt represent? The modern Egypt, Babylon the Great, man. Where the majority of our people are represented from all 12 tribes, man. It told you that Judah, because like it says in Genesis 49, we can get that real quick. This is the book of Genesis chapter 49 and verse 8. It says, Judah, thou art he whom thy brethren shall praise. Thy hand shall be in the neck of thine enemies. Thy father's children shall bow down before thee, because ultimately Judah is the head tribe. The so-called Negroes are the head tribe of Israel, man. The tribe of Yahweh. And it said that Judah's hand will be on the neck of thy enemies. So Judah is going to be the first tribe, to really rouse up the other tribes, man. And, in this coming war that's coming, man, in Jacob's trouble. Verse 9, it says, Judah is a lion's whelp. From the prey, my son, thou art gone up. He stooped down, he couched as a lion, and as an old lion, who shall rouse him up? So, Judah, being the head tribe, they fell down to a low point. when they were brought in captivity mainly by the Edomites. But they were also subjugated by who Ishmael. They castrated a lot of Jakes. Then you had Ham, who also sold Jake into the Edomites' hands. Judah has been the main tribe, to suffer the worst kinds of persecution by these other nations. But it ultimately says what? That Judah is going to rise up. And many of these Israelites, that are not a part of the elect, they may not be of the chosen, but the Lord is going to use them as spirits created for vengeance to carry out vengeance upon you Edomites, man, and these other heathen nations. Because I seen a video of an Edomite, basically saying that if there was a race war, that, Jake would lose because, these niggas don't know how to hunt or fish. And that's true to a certain extent. But hey, Esau, the Yahweh Ba'Shem Shai is not on your side, man. And the Lord is going to put the spirit on these Jakes out here that ain't never, fished or hunted a day in their life to hunt you down. How you like them apples, man? It don't matter how much you know how to hunt or fish or do anything. If the Lord is not dealing with you, you're ultimately not going to make it, man. And the Lord will use, these Edomites to get some of these Jakes. But ultimately, who's going to take the victory? Israel, man. By Yahweh Ba'Shem Shai's hand. So I'm going to, let's see. Let's end this off with the book of, let's see, what are we going to end this off with? We can end this off with the book of Micah. This is the book of Micah, chapter 5, and verse 7. And it says, "And the remnant of Jacob shall be in the midst of many people, as a dew from the Lord, as the showers upon the grass that tarrieth not for man, nor waiteth for the sons of men. And the remnant of Jacob shall be amongst the Gentiles in the midst of many people, as a lion among the beasts of the forest, as a young lion among the flocks of sheep, who, if he go through, both treadeth down and teareth in pieces, and none can deliver." So these Jakes, man, they're going to be used as spirits created for vengeance, to bring vengeance upon these heathen and to carry out and appease the wrath of Yahweh Ba'Shem Shai, man. So, these Edomites, hey, they've had their time, to do all the cruel, evil things to our people that they wanted to accomplish, man. But the time is coming where those who live by the sword, matter of fact, I'll make the last scripture. Let's see. Let's get the book of Revelation, chapter 13. I'll start at verse 9. It says, "If any man have an ear, let him hear. If any man have an ear, let him hear. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints." When Esau got his blessing from Isaac, did not Isaac say, "By the sword shalt thou live"? But what did he say after that? "Thou shalt serve thy brother." So these Edomites have lived by the sword for a very long time on the earth. The entire earth has felt their wrath, man, from West Asia, to the laws that they've imposed among these different nations. What's going on in the Holy Land right now with the war for the Gaza Strip? The entire earth has felt the wrath of these Edomites, man, and most importantly, Israel has felt the wrath of these Edomites, man. But the time is going to come where these people are going to be recompensed for the evil that they have done, man. So stuff like this is going to be a more common occurrence, man. Seeing these Edomites get smoked out here, man. And eventually, hey, Esau Edom is going to be brought forth into captivity by Yahweh Ba'Shem Shai, and he's going to allow his people to take part in that. So I hope this lesson was edifying, and I want to give all honors, glory, and praises to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, Ba'Shem Makakodash, double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well, Shalom, and until the next lesson.